welcome to the 62nd installment of Tell Em Alejandro, your number one place for sports, cars, video games, fitness. If you're a man, you're here. Mr. Alejandro, about to tell him.
What you about to tell him, Alejandro?
I'm about to tell you about my NBA first round, Game 7's playoff predictions.
Tell him, Alejandro!
Alright, folks, if you have not been watching the NBA playoffs, you're missing out. This has been probably the most exciting first round NBA playoffs that I have ever seen in my life. So far, out of the 8 series, 3 series have come to a conclusion. The Washington Wizards, the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, have defeated the 4th seed Chicago Bulls in 5 games. That was a stunner to me. Going into the series, I picked the Bulls to win the series in 6 or 7 games, but Washington prevailed, and the Bulls need some offensive pieces. During the summer, they need to resurrect Derrick Rose and his knees and possibly chase down Carmelo Anthony. In the meantime, the Wizards, I think they're a surprise team in the playoffs. They're going to make some noise. They're going to shock the world in some way or another. And by the end of the season, everybody's going to know that the Wizards are a real team. Next up in the Eastern Conference was the 2nd seeded Miami Heat versus the 7th seeded Charlotte Bobcats. The Miami Heat swept the Charlotte Bobcats. I somewhat predicted that. I said the furthest that series would go would be 5 games, especially with the Charlotte Bobcats, Big Al Jefferson being injured. The Bobcats are a young, inexperienced team, and they're not ready for a back-to-back championship team like the Miami Heat, especially with the Heat having the best player in the league right now, LeBron James. So anybody could have predicted that. Let's stay in the Eastern Conference with 2 series that are remaining. Both of them are coming down to the final Game 7 tonight. I am extremely excited. No, not tonight. This weekend, sorry. Extremely excited. Tonight is going to be the Indiana Pacers versus the Atlanta Hawks. Going into the series, I predicted the Indiana Pacers to win this series in 5 games, 6 games max. And it's actually going 7 games. I'm a man, no. I'm not changing my prediction, no. I still think the Indiana Pacers are going to defeat the Atlanta Hawks. I like the adjustment that they made, benching Roy Hibbert and running the small lineup. And David West had a game in Game 6. His first double-double of the playoffs, 24 points, 11 rebounds. Out of his 24 points, 12 of them came in the 4th quarter. David West is a boss. Shout out to David West. I think the Indiana Pacers are going to win. But I will say this, though. The Atlanta Hawks have been balling this series, and they showed something that I didn't think they have, which was heart and resiliency. So shout out to them. But overall, I want to see the Atlanta Hawks lose because the Indiana Pacers going against the Washington Wizards next round is going to be more fun than watching the Atlanta Hawks. I kind of don't want to see them. Just saying. Anyway, next series is the Toronto Raptors versus the Brooklyn Nets. Going into the series, I picked the Nets to win the series in 6 games. It's going 7 games. The way that the Nets won Game 6 gives me confidence going into Game 7. I think the Nets are going to win Game 7. The Raptors are a very good team. And similar to the Atlanta Hawks Indiana Pacers series, I don't want to see the Raptors win and go next round to play the Miami Heat. I think it's going to be boring. I want to see the Nets go play the Miami Heat. Not to mention Brooklyn. Like I said before, look good in Game 6. I think they're going to use their experience against a young, nervous team and defeat them in Canada with the fans going crazy. That's just what I think is going to happen. Let's go to the West Coast. That series that's already complete. The Houston Rockets lost last night in Game 6 to the Portland Trail Blazers. Going into the series, I predicted the Houston Rockets would win that series in 6 or 7 games. I was stunned, especially when Chandler Parsons hit the layup to take the Houston Rockets, give them a 2-point lead with 0.9 seconds left in the game. Damian Lillard hit what I think is going to be the biggest shot of this man's career with 0.9 of a second left in the game. Catch and shoot a 3-pointer, wet. His team wins and eliminates the Houston Rockets 99-98. Very impressive. Shout out to them. They're going into the next round. Portland, similar to how I think the Washington Wizards are a sleeper team, I think Portland is a sleeper team of the Western Conference. Shout out to Portland. I did not think they would be this far. I like Damian Lillard a lot, and LaMarcus Aldridge had a series. Oh my goodness. 40-plus points. Back-to-back games. Shout out to LMA. Portland is nice. Let's go to the remaining Game 7s of the Western Conference. Let's start off with OKC versus the Memphis Grizzlies. It's a foregone conclusion. The Oklahoma City Thunder are going to win this series. First of all, it was going into the series, I had OKC winning this series in 6 games because they got KD for MVP. And my mans, the Energizer Bunny, Russell Westbrook. But believe it or not, Memphis has actually played OKC pretty good this series. It's gone to 7 games, but in Game 6, Memphis Grizzlies' best player, Zach Randolph, punched Steven Adams in the face, the player for the OKC Thunder, and he is suspended for Game 7. This is the first time that a player that is leading a team in scoring has been suspended for Game 7. Not to mention, another good player for the Grizzlies is injured, Michael Conley Jr. So I think it's a wrap for Memphis. They have fought hard, but their season coming to a conclusion. I'm sorry, Memphis. Shout out to OKC, though. I think they're going to win the West. Just my opinion. Next up, the LA Clippers versus the Golden State Warriors. Going into this series, I picked the Clippers in 7. I'm not changing my mind, especially with the Warriors having a lot of injuries. Andrew Bogut, he's banged up. I haven't seen him this whole series, and that's a big loss for them because he would have been banging with DeAndre Jordan, and he would have been banging with Blake Griffin. If you remember, I recapped it during Christmas. Bogut was trying to fight Blake Griffin, and unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see round 2 of that fight. So I'm picking the Clippers to win this series. Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson will be the difference maker. If they get wet and start hitting a whole bunch of jump shots, they're probably going to the next round. But I'm picking Chris Paul, CP3, and Blake Griffin to win that series. Last but certainly not least, the San Antonio Spurs versus the Dallas Mavericks. Going into this series, I picked the Spurs to win this series in probably 6 games. But then the eagle arrived. Dirk Nowitzki showed up, and he's reminding me of the Dirk back in 2011 when he won the NBA championship. And his man's Monte Ellis is balling too. This is a toss-up. This is a flip-a-coin 50-50. I want to see Dallas win. I like Dirk Nowitzki. I like Monte Ellis. And the Spurs, watching them play, it makes me go to sleep. They are a boring team to watch. I don't want to watch a boring team. But I respect them. They're very consistent. They put in work every single year. They're always a good team. So I'm not going to be shocked if and when they win. I want Dallas to win, but I think overall the Spurs are going to win. That's it, folks. But don't forget, please, because this is such a big weekend. 5 Game 7s. If you're a man, you're at home watching the games. There you have it, folks. Mr. Alejandro's NBA Playoffs Round 1 Game 7 predictions. Who do you think is going to take it? Tell them in the comments. Tonight's black and velvety bow tie is brought to you by Aldo. Check it out. I'm looking tough as always. You know what it is. How's your boy? Tune in for more sports, cars, video games, fitness, and all that. Follow at Tell Em Alejandro to hear my immediate reactions to live sports events. Or if you want to hear me cover a certain team and topic, tell them. Outro music! Yeah. This weekend, I'm going to be in the office all weekend long watching these 5 Game 7s. Make sure wherever you are, that you're watching it too, whether it's at the gym, at work, at home, at the barbershop, at the sports bar. I don't care. Make sure you're watching some of these Game 7s. It's going to be fire. Pacers, Hawks, OKC, Grizzlies, Clippers, Warriors, Raptors, Nets, Spurs, Mavs. It's going to be bananas. Make sure you're following on Twitter, because I'm going to give you that live feed, son. Get it. T-E-A. T-E-A. Woo. T-E-A. A. 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 A.